Welcome back to Terror by the Bay. I'm David. Well, my political crush has a book coming out. Liz Cheney has a book coming out on December 5th called Oath and Honor, and describing her times in Congress, and at least what CNN's covering, which is the juicy stuff we all want to know about, is all the stuff leading up to the insurrection on January 6th. She includes in her book about calling out Mike Johnson, basically when he had his legal arguments to try and overturn elections in other states, and she pointed out the flaws. His response was, well, we just need to do this one last thing for Trump. From McCarthy, here's a juicy one. When McCarthy went to Mar-a-Lago 3 weeks after the insurrection, he claimed that the staff at Mar-a-Lago called him down there because Trump wasn't eating, and they needed Kevin to go down there to help him feel better because he was really depressed. And she was incredulous because that makes no sense whatsoever. And then lastly, another bombshell in this one was she was accidentally included on a White House surrogate call where she heard Trump allies basically detailing specific plans to overturn the election. And then trying to get Mike Pence to obstruct or delay the counting of electoral votes. And she and Paul Ryan were messaging afterwards, wondering if Pence was going to cave into the pressure or not. So lots of interesting stuff coming out in this book. And what I want to throw on is what's the energy around this book? And then we'll find out, will it make a difference? Okay? Entertainment purposes only. Liz Cheney's book that's coming out. Oath and Honor. What's the energy around this book? It's going to give us some behind the scenes stuff that we did not know about. We'll see information that is new to us, and it's going to pull back the veil a little bit, especially what was happening with the Republicans and their mindset during that time period. Yeah, it's about the government. So yeah, it's going to be about the government and the secrets going on, but specifically it's going to be about the Republicans and what shows up, my card for the insurrection. Grifting in the insurrection. Page of Pentacles. The election was stolen. Okay. Some good nuggets in there. In the past, I think Liz Cheney is very proud of her political career. She's proud of the things that she's done. Now, again, for the umpteenth time, I understand she is not the popular person on this channel. Her political philosophies and my political philosophies really don't intersect. And she even said the same thing about Nancy Pelosi. And I put a quote on my community page just now that the two of them never saw eye to eye on anything except when it came to defending the Constitution and democracy. And I know some people say they don't trust her. She's got no power right now. It doesn't matter if you trust her or not. There's nothing she can do in her current situation. Yeah, you might say that this book is self-serving or something along those lines. But you also know she sat on the January 6th committee, and there was a whole lot of truth coming on that one, and she wasn't, feeding BS into that committee like other Republicans would have that McCarthy wanted on there in the first place. But I think she's proud of what she's done. She's proud of her support of the United States and her commitment to democracy. Current situation is she's going to discuss the events that led up to the near failing, for the lack of a peaceful transfer of power on January 6th. So you're going to get information up to that, and even the consequences of that, and how Trump to this day is still trying to take America down. And even I think the final parts of the book is a call to action, basically asking for Democrats, Republicans, and independents to basically, a call to arms to not get Donald Trump elected, because as she puts it, he'll just throw the Constitution in the garbage can. And her point was, we can stand 4 years of bad policies, but we can't. This country cannot take a president who disregards the Constitution. And Trump's already said he would suspend the Constitution so he could get his revenge and retribution on his perceived enemies. Overarching energy in this book, a damn difficult right. This was not an easy decision for her to do because it basically betrays the Republican Party. But I think she also understands the Republican Party as she knows it no longer exists. There's another quote in this CNN article where she was talking with McCarthy about the January 6th events, and she pointed to a picture of Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush and asked McCarthy what he thought those two icons of the Republican Party would think about the events on January 6th. And McCarthy's response was, they're not in charge anymore. This isn't their party. Which I think speaks volumes because, yeah, this is not the party of Ronald Reagan or George H.W. Bush. Again, two more people that will not be popular men on this channel. But when you compare them to what you hear being spewed by the current Republican Party, they seem pretty darn moderate, all things considered. And they weren't, even back in the day. But that's just how far right this party has gone. Okay, so her book, it's going to talk about the toppling and the continued toppling of the U.S. government. A difficult thing to write, but it had to be done. She knew she had to do this book. She had to get that out there so that there is somebody who is a high-ranking Republican can tell the truth as to what happened behind the scenes, name names, and associate acts to those names. And, basically, one of the things I really do admire about Liz Cheney is, again, all political stuff aside, she has a backbone. She has a backbone of steel. Do not cross this woman. If you become her enemy, you've got a horrific enemy to fight. And she will not spare, she's not going to spare words as to what happened here. She's going to tell it like it is. Outcome. Four of Cups. MAGA folks aren't going to care. Democrats will care, but they've already made up their mind. What you've got now this is offering information to people who don't want to drink it, but they can't ignore it either. She is presenting evidence and data, and she's not Nancy Pelosi. She's not AOC. She's not some high-profile Democrat like Adam Schiff or Dianne Feinstein, who's hardly the most progressive of Democrats out there. She's Liz freaking Cheney, man. Her dad was a very conservative vice president. She comes from a very conservative line of Republicans and her family. And she's telling the Americans what they need to hear but don't want to listen to. Will it make a difference? It just might. Because you know what? Again, all you have to do is reach about 5% of the population and make a difference in 5% of the population swing states. That's all you have to do. It may be not 5. It could be 3%. If you can get 3 to 5% of people who would have voted for Trump and you get them this information, and suddenly they're not enthused about voting for Donald Trump anymore because they're starting to realize maybe he's a traitor to this country, that's enough to give Biden a very comfortable win in a swing state, a battleground state. Yeah, again, if you go into deepest, darkest Alabama or something like that, if you get 5% of the Trumpers not to go out and vote, will Trump still carry the state? Yeah, probably. This is assuming, of course, that Trump is the Republican nominee, and right now there's no reason to believe that he won't be, despite felony counts and stuff like that. Because again, Trump will win. He'll win Alabama 65 to 35%. So if it's 60-40, it's still a crushing victory. But, if we're talking Michigan, where Biden maybe won by 3 percentage points, or I don't think he carried Nevada. What swing states did Trump carry? Some swing state that Trump might have carried by 2 percentage points or 3 percentage points. If you can get 3 to 5 to not vote for Trump, that's a Democratic victory right there. Okay. Enough math. More intuition. How will this book impact Republicans and independent voters? How will it impact them? It's going to expose the truth to them. She's going to. It's like, here it is. I'm going to lay it out plain as day. And whether or not they believe it, it doesn't matter. She's laying it out there. She is spewing facts. Let me throw all the cards here. What I see, and underneath this is the charity card. I think, again, she's doing this to help people understand. She's trying to simplify a big picture item to something that they can understand. He's not the man for the job. And she's going to use slogans and words that Republicans would understand. Fair and balanced type of thing. She probably doesn't really call out as many people as she probably could. But there is a charity here. She doesn't hate Americans for liking Donald Trump. She just wants them to know the truth so that they can make up their own mind. So she's going forward with what she's hoping is something of value so that people understand what was going on. That Trump basically wants to be a dictator. Let's call it what it is. It's an authoritarian government that he wants. He wants to be a dictator. And if people don't wake up and start supporting, even if it's supporting a Democratic candidate, we could begin that journey. We've been down that path towards an authoritarian government. And it's up to people to recognize this and take action to prevent this from happening. And it doesn't, not only donors, but everyday people. You need the everyday people to vote. The donors can throw a bunch of money at advertisers and stuff, but the everyday people need to have their voice heard too. Will it make a difference? Every bit helps. And maybe that 6 of coins is, it doesn't make a huge difference. But you know what? If you're still giving crumbs to people, you're still making a difference. You can get Donald Trump all depressed in Mar-a-Lago, but you can't force him to leave unless you send Kevin McCarthy down there, of course, because everybody knows Kevin McCarthy is just makes people suddenly have an appetite again. It's one of his superpowers. Jeez. Okay. McCarthy's camp, when asked questions about the book, said that Liz Cheney not only suffers from Trump derangement syndrome, but apparently she also suffers from McCarthy derangement syndrome. Dear God, the arrogance, the absolute freaking arrogance of this. Okay. How is Liz Cheney viewing her current political future? What is she doing with her current political future here? It's winner takes all. Chased out of the Republican Party for speaking her mind, and there was no compromise. Oh, and that's interesting. That was another thing in this article. They wanted her to apologize to the Republicans for impeaching Trump, and she refused to do it. She survived that vote, 150 to 50. There, I guess I don't know if they're trying to expel her out of the caucus or not, but she won that round, but then she got primaried and lost the general election. Right now, she understands this. What's happening with the Republican Party and with the Freedom Caucus, it's for all the marbles of that party. her political future, but she's working. She understands what's at stake here, and she's working hard. She's probably doing some fundraising or something along those lines, or working with PACs or something like that. She's got some work that she's doing here. She's really disappointed with how the Republican Party has turned and gone from, traditional conservatism to fascism, and how quickly folks, who made oaths to the Constitution have foregone those oaths. The Eight of Wands, expect we're going to see a lot of her on talk shows and news channels and things like that as she goes around hyping up her book. She's also kind of waiting for the next thing to come. So she's going to be busy. She's going to be busy with her book, but there's also stuff that she's working on where things can change really quickly. And there's a weariness here, or, wondering, kind of looking over your shoulder like, okay, what's coming next? And you know where I'm going to go with it, right? If a House speakership position comes open, she's maybe wondering if she's going to take it or not. But right now, pimp the book. She's going to go out there, she's going to work, and she's going to do whatever she can to make sure that Donald Trump does not get elected as the President of the United States again. That is her short-term goal. And she's got a year and change to make sure it goes through. Okay, that's my reading on Liz Cheney and her new book out. Thank you for watching this video and supporting my political crushes here, and supporting my channel. I do appreciate it. Thank you for all your likes and shares and comments and everything you do to help feed the YouTube algorithm so that my video makes it out to a wider audience. And to the new viewers to the channel, welcome to the channel. I hope you found this reading insightful, and I'll catch you on the next reading. Take care. Bye-bye.